Exactly. So
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Ayan. I'm a graphic design and I'm a level 1 student at Hans School Samad campus. So today I'm here with new Chatgpt. My topic is what happens in our body when we are exercise. So first of all, Chatgpt, my first question to you is what are the immediate psychological changes occurs in the human body when a person start exercising, and how do these changes prepare the body for physical activity?
that's a great question, Ian. So when we start exercising, a whole cascade of changes happens. Physiologically, our heart rate increases, so the heart pumps more blood, delivering oxygen and nutrients more efficiently. Our lungs also work harder, increasing oxygen intake. Hormones like adrenaline and endorphins are released, which boost our mood and focus. Psychologically, exercise reduces stress, often improves confidence, and can even enhance mental clarity. Altogether, these changes prepare the body and mind, making us more resilient and ready for sustained physical activity.
Very long answer.
Absolutely. Let me expand on that. So, when we begin exercising, there's an immediate increase in heart rate, which is a crucial response because it ensures more oxygen and nutrients are being transported to muscles. Meanwhile, our breathing rate increases, which enhances gas exchange in the lungs. Over time, this consistent demand for oxygen and energy leads to improved mitochondrial density, meaning our cells become better at producing energy. Hormones like cortisol rise briefly, giving us a stress response, but over the long run, exercise reduces cortisol levels and increases serotonin and dopamine, both of which lift mood. Psychologically, these changes are powerful. Exercise builds resilience, helping people cope better with daily stress. It also triggers better sleep patterns, enhances cognitive function, and can even boost memory. Altogether, these physiological and psychological changes prepare us to handle not just physical activity, but also improve our overall quality of life.
Okay, nice answer. So can you explain me please how does the cardiovascular system respond during exercise, and what role does the heart play in the exercise?
Absolutely. So during exercise, the cardiovascular system adapts in really dynamic ways. The heart is central to this. As you start moving, the heart rate increases significantly, pumping more blood per minute. Not only does the heart beat faster, but it also becomes stronger, ejecting more blood with each contraction. This increased blood flow is vital because it transports oxygen and nutrients to working muscles. Meanwhile, blood vessels in active areas, like your legs, dilate, meaning they widen, which allows for even more blood flow. At the same time, vessels in less active regions constrict slightly, ensuring blood is prioritized to the muscles that need it most. As for breathing, your lungs also ramp up. You breathe faster and deeper, allowing for greater oxygen intake and more efficient carbon dioxide removal. Together, these responses not only fuel muscles during activity, but also prepare your body to sustain effort longer, adapt to higher intensities, and recover more efficiently afterward.
Please long.
Of course, I'll keep going. Another key part of the cardiovascular response is that over time, regular exercise causes your resting heart rate to decrease because your heart becomes more efficient. Similarly, your blood pressure often lowers as your vessels becomes flexible and responsive. The increased blood flow also stimulates the growth of new capillaries, enhancing oxygen delivery even further. On the psychological side, this steady increase in oxygen and endorphins often leads to improved focus, reduced anxiety, and a sense of mental clarity. As your body grows accustomed to exercise, your vascular system adjusts to handle stress better, making you feel more capable in daily life. In short, the heart and vascular system form a feedback loop. As you train them, they get better, and so does your overall endurance, resilience, and mental well being.
Okay, nice. So my next question to you is whenever we are exercising, involved in exercising, so what hormones are active during exercise?
That's a fantastic question. During exercise, a whole range of hormones become active. First, adrenaline, also known as epinephrine, is released by the adrenal glands. It increases heart rate, blood flow, and energy availability. Cortisol, another adrenal hormone, rises too. This helps mobilize energy stores, although chronically high cortisol can be a stress concern. Then we have endorphins. These are neurotransmitters that create a sense of euphoria, often called the runner's high. Growth hormone is also released, which supports muscle repair and growth. Insulin drops during intense activity, allowing your body to rely more on fat and glycogen stores for energy. And don't forget testosterone and estrogen. These sex hormones are also play a role in muscle growth, endurance, and metabolism. Together, these hormones not only fuel performance, but also promote adaptation, making you stronger, fitter, and more resilient over time.
Okay, nice. So my next question to you is, can you explain please, uh, how does muscle generate energy during exercise, and what is the role of ATP in muscular and muscle construction?
That's a really important point. So during exercise, muscles need a rapid supply of energy. They get this primarily from a molecule called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Essentially, ATP is the immediate energy source that powers muscle contractions. When a muscle contracts, ATP breaks down into ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and a phosphate group,
ये
releasing
ना उस दिन
energy.
उसकी ओपनिंग
Once
हुई है
ATP
तो
is used
दबाओ
up,
ये
the
सारे
body
डॉक्टर्स
regenerates it
बैठे
using
हैं
stored
तो अब
phosphocreatine,
मुझे
glycogen, and
आपने ना
eventually
इस पे
glucose.
एक थोड़ी सी
Meanwhile, as
एक
ATP is
प्रपोजल सी
broken
बनानी
down,
है
the muscles contract
कि
by
हम
sliding
इसको
actin
किस
and
तरह
myosin filaments
जो है
past
ना
each other.
सोशल मीडिया पे वहाँ
Without
पे जो है ना
ATP, these filaments can't
इसको
move and the contraction stops.
क्या कहते हैं
So
प्रमोट
ATP is
करेंगे
central.
गुजरात में
It's a fuel that drives
ठीक
every
है
muscle movement. Over time, as you exercise, your body gets
डिवार्सन
better at making
क्लिनिक्स को
ATP,
ठीक है
both by using
इस पे
stored
मुझे आपने
energy more
वर्किंग
efficiently
करके
and by
देनी है
increasing the number of
जब
mitochondria in
ठीक
muscle
है
cells, which are the powerhouses that produce ATP.
Okay. So my next question to you is, how does regular exercise improve health, of the body?
That's a really important point. So, regular exercise has a profound impact on heart health. First, it strengthens the heart muscle itself, allowing it to pump more blood with each beat, which means it doesn't have to work as hard. Over time, this lowers resting heart rate and reduces blood pressure. Exercise also improves blood vessel elasticity, so vessels can dilate and constrict efficiently, helping to keep blood pressure in check. It also boosts good HDL cholesterol and lowers bad LDL cholesterol, which prevents plaque buildup in arteries. Beyond that, exercise reduces inflammation, a key factor in many cardiovascular diseases. It helps regulate blood sugar, prevents obesity, and manages stress, all of which are risk factors for heart disease. So, by consistently exercising, you're essentially fortifying your cardiovascular system, keeping arteries clear, improving circulation, and reducing the long term risk of heart issues.
Okay. So please answer this.
Of course, let's dive deeper. When we talk about heart health, one key thing is how exercise impacts endothelial function. The endothelium is the lining inside your blood vessels, and exercise keeps it healthy, making vessels more responsive and reducing stiffness. Additionally, regular physical activity helps control body weight, and being at a healthy weight reduces the strain on your heart. Exercise also improves insulin sensitivity, meaning your body handles blood sugar better, which is crucial since diabetes is a major risk factor for heart disease. Moreover, consistent exercise reduces arterial inflammation. Chronic inflammation is one of the silent culprits in atherosclerosis. And don't forget the autonomic nervous system adjusts. Exercise boosts parasympathetic, rest and digest tone, lowering stress on the heart, and balancing the fight or flight response. In summary, by improving vascular function, managing cholesterol, and controlling inflammation and blood sugar, regular exercise becomes one of the most powerful tools in reducing long term cardiovascular risk.
Okay, nice answer. So, can you explain me, please, whenever we are exercising, what type of our body uh, heals, and
Great question.
what role does oxygen play in energy production during exercise, and what happens when oxygen supply is insufficient?
I see what you're asking. During exercise, our body needs more oxygen to produce energy, especially for aerobic activities. The muscles rely on oxygen to break down glucose and fatty acids, creating ATP in the mitochondria. As we exercise, our breathing rate increases, which brings in more oxygen, and our heart pumps faster, distributing that oxygen rich blood to muscles. If the demand surpasses the supply, like in high intensity exercise, our muscles temporarily shift to anaerobic pathways, producing energy without oxygen, but generating lactic acid. That's why you can feel a burn. In summary, the body needs a steady oxygen supply for efficient ATP production, and when that supply is insufficient, the body adapts backup pathways. Though it's always better when oxygen can fully meet the demand.
Okay, more answer, please.
Of course. So, building on that, when we have a consistent oxygen supply, the body relies on aerobic metabolism. This is a much more efficient way to generate energy because it can produce a large amount of ATP from each glucose or fat molecule. Over time, regular exercise increases the number of mitochondria, essentially the powerhouses in muscle cells, so they become better at utilizing oxygen and producing ATP. Oxygen is also crucial for removing waste products like carbon dioxide. If oxygen supply drops, not only is ATP production less efficient, but lactic acid accumulates, causing fatigue and that heavy feeling in the muscles. So, ensuring a robust oxygen supply is what allows the body to sustain effort, delay fatigue, and keep that energy production efficient, even as you push harder or longer in your workout.
Say more answer, please.
Of course. So, just to round that out, one more crucial factor is how regular oxygen supply during exercise helps prevent chronic conditions. By continually boosting oxygen delivery, you reduce the strain on the heart over time, and your body becomes more adept at using oxygen efficiently. This is why endurance training is so effective at lowering risks like heart disease or stroke. In addition, oxygen helps with brain function during exercise, improving focus and mental clarity. So, in short, a steady oxygen supply is like a foundation. It's what enables us to perform better, recover faster, and build a healthier cardiovascular system in the long run.
Long answer, please.
Absolutely. Let's really unpack that. Over time, when we consistently supply our body with oxygen during exercise, it essentially trains the cardiovascular system. The heart becomes stronger, pumping more blood with less effort, which lowers the risk of hypertension. Meanwhile, the increased number of mitochondria in muscle cells allows them to become more efficient, using oxygen to produce ATP at a higher rate. As a result, we see better stamina and endurance. On a cellular level, oxygen is also vital for preventing oxidative stress. It supports brain's metabolism, keeps the brain sharp, and even helps regulate hormones like insulin and growth factors. Moreover, oxygen during sustained exercise improves endothelial repair, meaning the inner lining of arteries stays healthy, reducing plaque buildup. On a broader scale, these adaptations improve daily energy, lower fatigue, and protect long term heart and metabolic health. So, in essence, a steady oxygen supply is the cornerstone of how exercise drives both immediate performance and long term cardiovascular resilience.
Okay. So my next question to you is, can you explain me please how exercise affects the nervous system and how does the brain communicate with muscles during a physical activity?
Absolutely. So, exercise engages the nervous system in a really intricate way. When you start moving, your brain, particularly the motor cortex, sends electrical signals down the spinal cord to motor neurons. These neurons then connect to muscle fibers, releasing neurotransmitters like acetylcholine at the neuromuscular junction. This triggers muscle contraction. In fact, different types of exercise, like strength training versus endurance, recruit different motor units. As you train, the nervous system becomes more efficient, firing faster, coordinating better, so you get more precise and powerful movements. At the same time, feedback loops from sensory nerves, like those that detect stretch or tension, help the brain adjust force and posture. Over time, this improves reaction time, balance, and coordination, allowing you to perform exercises more effectively and avoid injury. So, in short, the nervous system acts like a bridge, transmitting commands,
ये ना उस दिन
adjusting
उसकी
force,
ओपनिंग
and
हुई है
ensuring
तो
muscles
दबाओ ये
respond
सारे डॉक्टर्स
precisely to every
बैठ रहे हैं.
movement.
Okay, please continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to continue, this constant communication between the brain and muscles is what allows us to not only move, but also adapt over time. As you get stronger, your nervous system learns to recruit more muscle fibers at once, making each contraction more powerful. Plus, by repeatedly sending signals during coordination exercises like balance or agility drills, your brain forms more efficient motor patterns. This is why over time you become faster, more precise, and more confident in new movements. In short, the nervous system is a fundamental driver behind strength, agility, and endurance, and exercise is the perfect way to refine that communication, making every movement sharper and more effective. Of course. So, one more aspect is how the nervous system also plays a role in preventing injury. As we exercise, proprioceptors, sensory receptors in muscles and joints, send feedback to the brain about body position and movement. This feedback allows us to adjust quickly, stabilizing joints and preventing awkward twists or falls. Additionally, by refining neuromuscular control, we become more efficient and balanced, which is especially important in sports or complex movements. Over time, this heightened nervous system coordination not only boosts performance, but it also gives us the confidence to push boundaries safely, whether we're lifting heavier weights, running faster, or mastering a new skill. In this way, exercise becomes a dialogue. The brain, nerves, and muscles constantly adjusting, improving, and ultimately enabling us to reach higher levels of. हाँ, बिल्कुल. तो इस पूरे संवाद के माध्यम से हम देखते हैं कि कैसे. ज़रूर, मैं पूरी तरह से रोक देती हूँ. अगर आपको किसी और सवाल पर चर्चा करनी है या कोई और विषय है जिस पर आप विस्तार से सुनना चाहते हैं, तो मुझे ज़रूर बताइएगा. Of course, I'll switch back to English. If there's any other topic or follow-up question you have, I'm ready to go into more detail. Just let me know.
Okay, so my next question to you is, how does exercise affect the nervous system, and how does the brain communicate with muscles during a physical activity?
Yeah, great question. So when we exercise, the brain plays a central role by sending electrical signals through the nervous system. The motor cortex in the brain initiates commands, which travel down the spinal cord and reach motor neurons. These neurons then connect to muscle fibers, releasing neurotransmitters like acetylcholine, which trigger muscle contraction. At the same time, sensory nerves feed back information to the brain, like
A
stretch or
new era
tension,
of
so the
excellence
brain
in
can
healthcare
adjust
has
force,
arrived.
timing, and posture. Over time, this repeated communication strengthens neural pathways, improving coordination, balance, and even reaction time.
So my next question to you is, can you explain please what happened to blood pressure during exercise and how does the body regulate it?
Absolutely. So during exercise, blood pressure actually rises initially because your heart is pumping more forcefully to meet the oxygen demand of your muscles. However, as you continue, your blood vessels and active muscles dilate. This is called vasodilation, which offsets that increase. In fact, during steady, moderate exercise, overall blood pressure can actually decrease after your workout because your vessels stay more flexible and resistive. The body regulates this through the autonomic nervous system, activating the parasympathetic system, which calms the heart rate, and the vessels adjust to keep blood flow steady. No problem. I'll pause there. Of course. So after exercise, the body gradually returns blood pressure to normal. The parasympathetic nervous system slows the heart rate, and blood vessels adjust, ensuring smooth circulation. Over time, regular exercise can actually lower resting blood pressure by improving vascular function. So, this dynamic balance between the heart, vessels, and nervous system ensures that even after we stop, our body stays adaptable, efficient, and resilient in managing blood pressure over time. Ah, I see. Thank you for the clarification. Let me make sure I give you a very detailed, structured answer with a full 60 points of depth. So, to really understand how exercise affects blood pressure, we need to break it down step by step. First, at the onset, the heart rate increases because the sympathetic nervous system is activated, which raises cardiac output. The blood vessels and active muscles dilate, reducing resistance, which balances out the pressure. As you continue, hormonal changes like increases in adrenaline help redistribute blood flow. The autonomic nervous system kicks in, balancing sympathetic and parasympathetic tones, ensuring that after the peak, your heart rate and pressure start to drop. Over time, regular exercise causes long-term adaptations like arterial remodeling and improved endothelial function, so that at rest, your blood vessels are more flexible and blood pressure stays lower. Oxygen delivery to muscles is more efficient, so the heart doesn't have to work as hard. The reduction in blood pressure after exercise is linked to improved vascular health, reduced inflammation, and better glucose control. The body also learns to regulate blood flow more precisely, directing it to active tissues while preserving vital organs. As a result, regular exercise reduces the risk of hypertension, heart disease, and other metabolic disorders. 10th, mental benefits also play a role by reducing stress hormones. Exercise promotes relaxation, which further supports healthy blood pressure. So, all these points together show how exercise not only acutely affects blood pressure during a workout, but also promotes long term cardiovascular stability by improving vessel health, heart efficiency, and overall autonomic balance.
Okay, nice. So my next question to you is, how does exercise influence resilience, um, sensitivity, and blood sugar levels?
That's a great topic. So, when we exercise, our muscles require more energy, which means they need more glucose from the blood. This increased demand prompts cells to take up glucose more efficiently. Over time, regular exercise improves insulin sensitivity, which means your body responds better to insulin, so less insulin is needed to lower blood sugar. Additionally, exercise helps regulate how your body stores glucose. Your liver and muscles store more glycogen, so your blood sugar stays steadier. Furthermore, exercise reduces fat, especially visceral fat, which is linked to insulin resistance. As a result, your body's ability to keep blood sugar levels in check improves dramatically, reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes and helping people manage their blood sugar even better over time.
Okay, that's nice. So can you explain whenever we are during exercise why we are take water, any mineral things, nutrition drinks, why we take nutrition drinks and water?
That's a really important point. When we exercise, we lose a lot of water through sweat and even through increased breathing, so staying hydrated is crucial to maintain blood volume and prevent dehydration. When we lose too much fluid, our heart has to work harder to pump blood, which can reduce performance. Additionally, when we sweat, we lose essential minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium that help regulate muscle contractions and fluid balance. Nutrition drinks often provide electrolytes to replenish these minerals, keeping muscle function smooth and preventing cramps. Plus, nutrition drinks can offer quick energy, like carbohydrates, so that you have fuel to sustain a longer workout. In short, water and electrolytes keep you balanced, prevent fatigue, and ensure your muscles can keep working efficiently. Of course, building on that, when we stay hydrated, it also supports our body's temperature regulation. As we sweat, evaporative cooling helps prevent overheating, which can otherwise stress the cardiovascular system. Additionally, proper hydration ensures that nutrients like glucose and oxygen are transported efficiently to muscles. Without enough fluid or minerals, our blood volume drops, which could lead to dizziness or fatigue. Moreover, by having balanced electrolytes, we maintain nerve function, allowing the signals from the brain to travel seamlessly to muscles. In essence, water and nutrition balance not only sustain performance, but also protect against dehydration risks, muscle cramping, and ensure that we recover effectively after each workout.
Okay, nice. So my next question
I'm
to
glad.
you, yes, next question to you is why exercise is more important for our daily life and our body?
That's a really key question. Exercise is vital because it supports almost every system in our body. Physiologically, it strengthens the heart and lungs, keeps blood pressure and cholesterol in check, and improves insulin sensitivity, which reduces disease risk. It also keeps muscles and bones strong, helping with balance and preventing falls, especially as we age. On a mental level, exercise is a huge mood booster. It releases endorphins, reducing stress and anxiety, and it sharpens focus and memory. Plus, it gives us energy for daily tasks, improves sleep, and even boosts our immune system. It gives us physical health, mental resilience, and the energy we need to live a fuller, more active life every day.
A new era
Of
of
course,
excellence
let's
in
really
healthcare
expand
has
on this.
arrived.
Exercise is one of the most foundational pillars of a healthy daily life because it impacts us holistically. Physically, it keeps the cardiovascular system strong. Our heart pumps more efficiently, reducing the risk of heart disease, stroke, and high blood pressure. Over time, it also keeps bones denser, which helps prevent osteoporosis, especially as we age. Muscles stay strong, which not only supports movement, but also improves posture and balance, reducing fall risks. Metabolically, exercise is crucial. It boosts insulin sensitivity, helping regulate blood sugar levels, which is vital in preventing or managing type 2 diabetes. Mentally, exercise is a potent antidepressant. It releases endorphins, often called feel good hormones, which can reduce anxiety and elevate mood. Cognitively, it sharpens memory, boosts focus, and enhances problem solving skills. Furthermore, exercise supports sleep. It helps regulate our circadian rhythm so we fall asleep faster and get deeper rest. It also promotes long term habits because when we feel stronger and more energized, we're more likely to engage socially, pursue goals, and manage stress better.
Okay, nice conversation with the ChatGPT. Thank you for your answer. So viewers, this was our today ChatGPT. I hope you liked it. See you another ChatGPT, another session. Till then, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan, Zindabad,